Shavua Tov, a gute Woche, and welcome to our program. As the world is now ready to celebrate Yud Aleph Nisan 120 years since the birth of the Rebbe, we will dedicate this program to the Rebbe and his birthday. As a matter of fact, also the customary story is about the Rebbe's birthday. That in 1992, it was then Chof Vov Oder Rishon. We know that day. That was one day before Chof Zayin Oder Rishon. The last time so far that the Rebbe was giving out dollars in 770. The English date was Sunday, March 1st, 1992. And an individual came over to the Rebbe. There was a long day of dollars. And he says that he is preparing an article in this publication for 90 years of the Rebbe coming up soon, Yud Aleph Nisan. And he wants to ask the Rebbe, what is the Rebbe's message for 90 years? And the Rebbe answered that 90 is the numerical value of the letter in Hebrew for 90 is tzaddik. Tzaddik means righteous. That every Jew, every person, I said every Jew, but the Rebbe later said that this is a message not only for every Jew, it's a message for Jews and non-Jews. That every person should aspire to be a tzaddik, to be righteous, and to do more acts of righteousness. And it should be a steady aspiration, which means that today should be better than yesterday, and that tomorrow should be better than today. He should be a constant tzaddik, and that is the message that the Rebbe told this individual. This is the message for the Rebbe's birthday. It's the Rebbe himself who said that. So there's no need for explanation. One can ask, however, it's the Rebbe who's becoming 90 years old, not everyone else. But the Rebbe says, knowing all that this is a message for everyone. That for the Rebbe's 90th birthday, the message is that everyone should aspire to be righteous as much as we can. And not only that, there should be a constant aspiration that today should be nicer, better than yesterday, and that tomorrow should be better than today. And this is a universal message for Jew and non-Jew alike. Concerning what the Rebbe wants from us, I'm reminded of a story that I heard from a wonderful Jew, Reb Nochem Avrom Yakubovich, passed away this year. He used to live in Antwerp and worked many years before that in France. And he said that a Gerer Chosid once told him about the Rebbe, that the Rebbe is Pele Haderis, which means that the Rebbe is Pele is the wonder of generations. Now, it's very easy to make up a name, a title, and so on. But this was a man who was a thinking person, who was not a Lubavitcher Chosid. He was a Gerer Chosid, and spoke of the Rebbe in terms of Pele Haderis, of the wonder of generations. What does it mean in a way that we can relate to? In the Jewish community, there were many great leaders. There were many righteous people who were selfless, who didn't care about themselves, who cared for the community, and so on. If we look at the realm of influence that those Gedolei Yisrael had, in many cases, it was very, very limited. Some Gedolei Yisrael had a lot of influence in their little shtetl. But however, beyond the shtetl, nobody knew about them, and nobody knew about their greatness. Sometimes if they wrote a sefer, it went a little more. In any case, the influence was somewhat limited. Talking about the influence of the Rebbe. The influence of the Rebbe is, according to all standards, is not limited to one town, to one city, to one state, to one country. It's the entire world. The outreach of the Rebbe is the entire world. And you see it indeed, of the Rebbe shluchim all over the world. And when the Rebbe became the Nossi, officially in 1991 on Yud Shvat, he sent shluchim immediately all over the world. And not everybody understood exactly what he was trying to do. Mentioned on this program, there was a wonderful Jew, Rabbi Fogelman, Zechreinu Livrocho. He was the Rebbe Shliach in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I remember him telling me many times. He was there in 1941 when the Rebbe came. Whether it was the first Farbringen of the Rebbe, the subsequent Farbringens, the Rebbe said, we're going to start with Mesilas Shabbos, and we're going to reach the whole world. And Rabbi Fogelman said, when the Rebbe said we're going to reach the whole world, not everybody understood what he was talking about. Reach the whole world, 1941, and it's the middle of World War II. Europe is burning. You couldn't send, Rabbi Fogelman said, a postcard to Europe. How are you going to reach the whole world? But it's the Rebbe who in 1941, in the middle of the war, saw through the ashes and saw 50 years on the other side, that we are going to start with Mesilas Shabbos, that we can do even in Brooklyn of 1941, and gather together boys and girls on Shabbos, boys separately, girls separately, and give him a cookie, and give him a candy, and give him a cup of soda, and make brachas with them, and so on, that we can start. But that's a beginning, and we will reach the entire world. Baruch Hashem. Today, that's exactly what is happening. And it's interesting as to how the Rebbe looks at reaching the world. One is going to say, we've reached the whole world. We have a Chabad house in every town. Now, what else do you want? A Chabad house in every town. We reach the world. So let's see what the Rebbe himself says. And what does the Rebbe think? What does reach? How do you define the term we've reached? There's some people who think if we took a mitzvah tank and we went through the city, we reached the city. Absolutely, we reached the city. We reached some people that were not be able to reach any other way. And after a day's work, we came back with 30, 40 people who put on film. What else do you want? We reached the city. Let's see what the Rebbe says. And that's absolutely great. In a booklet that the Rebbe himself, Chof Ches Sivan, 1991, the Rebbe himself gave out this booklet. And the Rebbe in that booklet said, in that Kuntres, said that at Chof Ches Sivan 1991, Chof Ches Sivan 1991 is when the Rebbe gave out the booklet of Shinun Aleph. Chof Ches Sivan 1941. When the Rebbe came here, the Rebbe said there was a new thrust in Hafotzas HaMayonis. She'oz eschilo tnufa chadosho bo'aveda de Hafotzas HaMayonis chutzo. Then started a new thrust in the work of spreading out the wellsprings outwardly. The Rebbe said it a few times, but this is recorded Chof Ches Sivan Bevolchem Achedes Shtamos in the year Tovshim Envov, 1986. And in that Sicha, the Rebbe explains, generally we say, Yofutzu Meinosecho Chutzo, comes from the visit of the Baal Shem Tov to the habitation of Moshiach And he asked them the famous question, when are you going to come? And when is it going to be the revelation of Moshiach in this world? And he answered him, we know the story, we know the song. When your wellsprings will spread out outwardly. So you're talking about Yofutsu, 3 words. So the Rebbe explains, if we want to know what does the Rebbe want, is it enough we have a Chabad house? Or we even have a mitzvah tank in town. And on Sunday morning we have a shir, and during the week we have a shir. Absolutely wonderful. What does the Rebbe? How does he define hafotza samayonis chutzo? And how does the Rebbe define yofutzu ma'inisecha chutzo? The first word is yofutzu. Yofutzu means you should spread. So the Rebbe said, there are many words that would express this idea of outreach, of spreading, of communication. There are many ways to express it. Yofutzu means it should spread in a way that it spreads all over, that it reaches all over. And already the Rebbe gave away the secret. If there is one area where it did not spread, then it's not Yofutzu, although we're in the city. But within the city, there are different areas, there are different neighborhoods, there are different Jews, there are different non-Jews who live all over. And just because we're in the city, does that mean that we have spread all over the city? Not all the time. So the Rebbe makes it clear. It has to be in a way of Yofutzu. It should be, and then even right, apitelas emes, in the full sense of the word, and that we have reached every part. And as I have heard from many shluchim, especially shluchim who are sending out shluchim, they say very clearly that if you have 1,000 Jews, for argument's sake, that's in your community, and you have reached 999. Now, by the way, that's not so simple to do. If you have 1,000 Jews, if you reached 999, you're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good. But if you ask the Rebbe, but there's one Jew that you didn't reach. So is it Yofutzu al pitelas emes? Can telas emes say that this is Yofutzu, this is spreading all over? There's one Jew we didn't reach. Although 999 out of 1,000, that's a that means a lot of work. It didn't come in a vacuum. It didn't come by itself. A lot of planning and a lot of sleepless nights and planning and so on to reach 999 out of 1,000. Nevertheless, al pitelas emes, that would be a question. Did we reach everyone? And that is if we did do 999. So this gives us a way to understand what the Rebbe is talking about. That the Rebbe is talking about reaching each and every single Jew. Like in a family, we took care of all the kids in the family. But there was one kid we couldn't take care of. It's not going to work by the father and the mother. The father is going to say, but this is also my kid. And the mother is going to say, this is also my son, and this is also my daughter. So thank God, everybody is fine. But what about this one? The father and the mother, these are their children. And the Rebbe said more than once, I have a lot of only sons. I once heard that a father who had trouble with a son, shouldn't happen, went into Yechidus. And the father was brokenhearted. And the father, in his desperation, said to the Rebbe that he wants the Rebbe to worry about his son. He mentioned his name, as if it was the Rebbe's ben Yochid, as if it was the Rebbe's only son. That's what he said. And the Rebbe answered him, I'm doing that. I'm doing exactly what you're saying. This is my only son. I'm taking care of him like he's my only son. Now, by the Rebbe, he's not the only son. Well, that's what the Rebbe is. Well, he's taking care of everyone like you take care of an only son. Here it says, Yofutsu. Yofutsu means it should spread, al pitelas emes. It's not that what we are going to say to a news reporter. Telas emes. Telas emes means real. Did we really reach 100% of all the people in this town? That's what the Rebbe wants. Ma'inisecho. He explains what ma'inisecho means. Ma'inisecho means a mayon is a well. And there is in halacha, there is different measures of water, how much you need to cover something that is not clean. We all know that a mikveh has to be alboim so, 40 so, which is much. A person should be able to go in and immerse himself in a mikveh, which is generally amo alamo belum gimul ames, an area that is an amo by an amo, and it has to be told 3 amas, which is a considerable area. So therefore, if you have that amount of water, then that's kosher for a mikveh. Less than that, however less, doesn't matter, is not kosher. A drop less is not kosher. It has to have that shear. It has to have that amount of water. Sometimes when we see a stream, and the stream doesn't have that kind of water concentrated in one area. It's a stream of water. So sometimes, depends where it comes from, then if you can put something small into that stream, then that also can become tohel. Now, the ones that has the strongest purification powers is a mayon, is a well. If there is a well, anything that comes out of the well, even if it's a drop, what comes out of the well is little drops that come out and they are connected to the well. And we have a needle that we want to bring to spiritual purification. If we can put a needle into that area of the well when it passes through, and it's only a tipo, but the needle is even smaller. A tipo is a drop, but even it's also a little. The needle, if it's a little small, and if it's connected to the well and the well is active, that's the halacha. Then it becomes spiritually clean. So now we are talking about ma'inisecho. Ma'inisecho means a well has to be connected. And that is not a small challenge. Excuse me. Ma'inisecho means you send out a shliach. That shliach is like a mayon. It's like a well. But the well has to be connected. If it's connected, it can be a very, very small well. As long as it's connected. But connected is a very strong prerequisite. It's connected to the Rebbe and it's connected to Almighty God. Then it works. Even if it's a small well. But it's a well. That even if it's tipping, drops, little drops that come out of the well. But if it's connected, then it works. However, it has to be connected. That connection has to be there. And just in case we still didn't understand, we have the word chutzo. Chutzo means outwardly. Outwardly, in the book of the Rebbe, means every place, outwardly all over. If it's going to be one area that we didn't cover, that is chutzo imenu, that is outside of the realm of outwardly, Again, we're talking about a big city, and we covered all the city, but there's one area in the city that we didn't cover. For whatever reason. It's a little difficult. We couldn't get there. The question then is the city covered? If there's one area in the city that's not covered, that means there's one area that's chutzoimenu, that's outside. So we didn't really cover the outside, because there's an area outside of that area. Chutzo means that we have covered any area, and there's no area that is outside the realm of our coverage. That's what the Rebbe explains. And the Rebbe again uses the Torah, the definition of the Torah, and he says Torah Sem is the Torah of truth. We're not making a statement to the newspapers, and we're not talking to the media. We're talking about Torah Sem. The Rebbe stresses that. So according to Torah Semes, chutzo means beli kol hagbolos, that it shouldn't have any limitations whatsoever. And if one is going to say, well, we couldn't get there, and it's limited, they don't let, whatever the case is, and we know that it's difficult, because we know how difficult it is to reach one person. One person is a lot of work. One person means the shliach has to put himself out. He has to get out of his comfort zone, even to reach one person. So therefore we understand what it means. But if you're talking about real chutzo, it's that the Torah agrees that it's chutzo, and the Rebbe says Torah and Torah Sem is the Torah of truth. If it's really chutzo, beli kol hagbolos, that has no boundaries and no limitations whatsoever. To the extent she'ein chutzo mimeno, there's no chutzo outside of this chutzo. If there's another chutzo that's not covered, then it's not yafutzu meinesecha chutzo. And the Rebbe stresses she'ein chutzo, chutzo she'ein chutzo mimenu, which means we reach the chutzo, the outside, and there's no outside of that, because if there is, then this is not really called chutzo. The reason we're bringing this is what the Rebbe wants, and he's getting there. He already got there, maybe 99.9, but we want Mashiach to come. So we need that percentage of that decimal of a percentage. We need everyone. Yofutzu ma'inisecho chutzo. And the Rebbe told us so many times that we are the last generation of Golus, which means the last generation of exile, and the first generation of Geula, and the first generation of redemption. And therefore, it's going to be our task that we are going to see with our very own eyes. We're going to see the Geula ha'amitis ve'ashlemo, the complete redemption. And talking about the Geula ha'amitis ve'ashlemo, we heard the Rebbe say so many times, the Geula ha'amitis ve'ashlemo, the complete redemption. A Jew, maybe from Chachmi Lijanke, he's going to say, wait a minute, the complete redemption, the complete hamitis ve'ashlemo, the truthful, the real and complete. Why say all those words all the time? If it's not truthful and if it's not complete, then it's not a geula. If it's a geula, it's a geula. It's either it's a redemption or it's not a redemption. Well, it's not so simple. We're gonna celebrate Pesach. Pesach was a geula. Was Pesach a complete geula? There's an open Tosfos in Masechta Pesachim that says that the geula of Pesach was not a complete geula. And Pesach called and the Tosfos calls it on the Gemara. Tosfos calls it geula sheyesh acharei tza'al. This was a geula. It was definitely a redemption. We got out of Mitzrayim. We are no longer slaves in Egypt. Baruch Hashem. But is this a complete redemption? We're still slaves. Not in Egypt, someplace else. From Egypt, we got out. But Mashiach didn't come yet. So we are still slaves. Not like in Egypt, yes, we got the point. However, Mitzrayim, the Geula of Mitzrayim was a Geula sheyesh achareo tza'al. That there is agony after that, and there was other Goluyas after that. There were other exiles, and we're still in exile. Also, this is the way Tosfos answers. And the Medrash calls it Geula sheyesh achareo golus. Mitzrayim was a Geula sheyesh achareo golus. After that, there was another exile. So now the Rebbe always says we want the Geula ho amitis ve'ashlemo. We don't want another Geula like Mitzrayim. That chas v'sholem there should be another exile after that. No. We went through with Mitzrayim. Now we want a Geula ho amitis ve'ashlemo, a real Geula. A Geula that does not have any agony after that. Does not have any tza'al. A Geula she'ein achareo golus. A Geula that does not have a golus after that. And that's the Geula amitis ve'ashlema that we are going to see in Yirat Hashem. Gesundheit und Freilichkeit. Uba'agolo didan, uvesimcho, uvtuv livov, uveteva nire ve'aniglo, lomata me'asor atfochim, uvechesed, uvelachamim, vetekef, umiyad, mamesh.